Level 1. Private. $50 a month. You're eating breakfast when the letter arrives. Brown envelope. Selective service system in the corner. Your mother sets it on the table and walks back to the kitchen without a word. You're 20 years old. You work at a factory in Columbus, Ohio. You had plans, a girl named Helen, a ring in a box in your dresser drawer. You open the envelope anyway. 3 weeks later, you're standing in a gymnasium at Fort Benning, Georgia, in a line of 200 men who also didn't volunteer. A sergeant walks the line the way a carpenter looks at lumber. He's not seeing people, he's seeing material. They shave your head. They hand you an M1 Garand rifle, 9.5 pounds of steel and wood, and tell you it will save your life if you treat it right. 17 weeks of training. You march until your boots fill with blood. You dig foxholes in the dark. You learn to strip that rifle blindfolded in under a minute. Your pay is $50 a month. You send 30 home. Your mother uses it for rent. The man in the bunk next to yours is named Danny. He's from Pittsburgh. He talks constantly about the Steelers, about his girl Ruth, about sandwiches. He is the loudest person you've ever met. In 6 months, you'll understand that his noise is the most valuable thing in your life. Before shipping out, your mother sends a photograph. The front porch, her in her blue dress, squinting into the afternoon sun. She wrote on the back, "Come home to this." You fold it. You put it in your breast pocket, against your chest. Level 2. Private first class, $66 a month. You are in England. Spring is coming, but the island doesn't know it yet. Cold rises up from the ground. Fog sits over everything like a second sky. One stripe on your sleeve, $16 more a month. In exchange, you now operate the BAR, the Browning Automatic Rifle, 20 pounds, 500 rounds per minute, jams if you breathe on it wrong. You're the most important man in your fire team. You're also the most obvious target in any firefight. Nobody thinks to mention this until later. The staging areas across southern England are jammed with men, hundreds of thousands, equipment stacked in fields for miles, tanks, artillery, ammunition you can't count. The scale stops feeling real. It starts feeling like weather. You wait. This is most of what the army is. Danny tells you a joke every morning. The jokes are terrible. You laugh anyway. It's the most useful thing either of you does. You write Helen. You tell her England is cold and the food is bad, and you are fine. She writes back that she's waiting. That word sits in her letter like a stone. Your brother Tommy writes too. He's 16. He says he wants to enlist the moment he turns 17. He asks what it's like, whether it's what the movies say. You write back 2 words: stay home. Level 3. Corporal, $78 a month. June 6, 1944. The ramp drops at 6:31 in the morning, and the English Channel comes flooding in over your boots. The noise is not loud the way thunder is loud. It's loud the way the world ending would be loud, every frequency at once. The man in front of you takes a round through the helmet and drops straight down into the surf. You step over him. Not because you're callous, because there are 40 yards of open beach between you and the seawall, and those 40 yards are the entire arithmetic of your life right now. You run. You don't feel your legs. You make the seawall. You look around. Danny is there. Half the men from your landing craft are there. The other half are not. You are promoted to corporal 2 weeks later. 2 chevrons, $78 a month. Not because of anything exceptional, because the corporal who had the job before you took shrapnel outside Colleyville, and the slot was open, and you were standing in it. This is how promotions work here. A gap opens, you fill it. You understand this now in a way that cannot be untaught. Your fire team is 4 men. You know which one freezes for a second before he starts moving. You know which one prays 15 seconds before every engagement. You protect those specific things because those specific things are what keep the team alive. Level 4, Sergeant, $96 a month. It is July in Normandy, and the hedgerows are trying to kill you. Nobody told you about the bocage, the ancient earthen walls, 6 feet tall, packed with roots and stone, running across the French countryside in every direction. Tanks can't break through them. Artillery can't see over them. Every field is its own fortress. Every corner is an ambush. 3 chevrons, $96 a month, 12 men. You count them twice a day, morning before movement, night before dark. 12 names. You say them to yourself like inventory, because that's exactly what it is. By August, you've said 12 names so many times you can do it in your sleep. You've also filled 4 gaps. Different men, same slots. Some lasted weeks, one lasted an afternoon. You take the photograph out of your breast pocket one evening in a ruined farmhouse outside St. Lo. Your mother, the blue dress, the porch. You look at it for 1 full minute. You put it back. There's nothing true you're allowed to write home, and nothing false you want to write, and the distance between those 2 things is where all your letters live now. Level 5, Staff Sergeant, $114 a month. Paris falls in August. French civilians throw flowers and kiss American soldiers in the streets. You've been fighting in hedgerows and rubble for 11 weeks. The flowers feel wrong. The cheering feels foreign. Everything that isn't combat feels slightly unreal now. You recognize this about yourself. You don't like what you recognize. 3 chevrons, 1 rocker, $114 a month. You're assistant platoon sergeant now. The gap between what the lieutenant orders and what actually happens on the ground runs through you. You make his plans work in practice. You are the translation layer between command and reality. The drive east stalls in September, supply lines stretched too thin, ammunition low, gasoline low. The army that broke out of Normandy waits, and waiting now feels different from waiting in England. In England, you were waiting for something unknown. Now you're waiting with full knowledge of what's already behind you. That knowledge has weight. Danny is still alive, different regiment. You got a letter that was redirected twice before it found you. Ruth is pregnant. He wrote it like he was describing a game on the radio, slightly too fast, slightly too loud, because slowing down means feeling it, and he can't afford that right now. You understand completely. You write him back, good, hold on to that. Level 6, Technical Sergeant, $138 a month. The Hurtgen Forest is where the Army sends men to learn what the word limit actually means. 19,000 American casualties in 4 months. 80 square miles of pine so dense that artillery shells explode in the treetops and send shrapnel raining straight down. No conventional front line, just positions, gaps, and darkness between the trees. 3 chevrons, 2 rockers. You're the platoon sergeant now. The lieutenant was evacuated with a shoulder wound outside Schmidt, and his replacement, a fresh officer named Carroll, arrived 4 days ago. You've kept Carroll alive by keeping him next to you at every moment since. Carroll is not stupid. He has the sense to be afraid, and the better sense not to show it. You stand close enough to put your hand on his shoulder and tell him what to say. He says it. The platoon moves. It works. You check your men's feet every morning, like a farmer checking livestock. Feet are the difference between a man who functions and a man you're carrying. You're also getting letters from Tommy again. He turned 17 in October. He's made his decision. He'll wait until 18 to avoid needing your mother's signature, but he's going. He's already talked to a recruiter. You sit with his letter for 2 days. Then you write him the most honest thing you've written anyone since you left Ohio.
There is no such thing as what the movies say. There is only what it actually is, and what it actually is cannot be described to someone who hasn't been here. I'm asking you not to go. I know you'll do what you want. I'm asking anyway. He doesn't listen. You knew he wouldn't. Level 7, First Sergeant, December 1944. The Germans attack on December 16th. 3 armies, 300,000 men, punching through the Ardennes before dawn in snow and darkness. The American line doesn't bend, it shatters. Whole units overrun in hours. You are near Bastogne when it happens, and the company has no captain because Captain Morse took a mortar round the day before. You're the first sergeant, top NCO of the company. Normally, you run the paperwork, morning reports, duty rosters, accountability, the machinery that keeps 187 men organized. Now, you're running the company. You take the radio. You take the map. You set the perimeter. You issue the orders. Carol runs the officer voice while you run the thinking. On the 3rd day, a decision comes that you will carry for the rest of your life. 2 positions, 1 set of ammunition. You cannot supply both. You allocate. 1 position holds. You know what happens to the other one. You know the names of the men in it. You carry those names in a place that never goes quiet. That night, in a frozen Belgian farmhouse, you take the photograph out one more time. Your mother, the blue dress, the porch, the maple tree is bigger than you remember it being. You've been looking at this photograph for 2 years, and you keep finding new things in it, and you don't know if they were always there, or if looking long enough changes what you see. You put it back. You get back on the radio. Level 8, Captain. $200 a month, 1945. They give you the company in February, 162 men. You are 22 years old. You are called the Old Man, not as a joke. You write letters. That is the captain's job no one prepares you for. A man dies, and you write to his family. You find words for what his life was worth. You write them carefully, because these letters are the last true thing his family receives about him. You've written 19 letters since December. In April, your unit reaches a camp in Bavaria. You will not say the name here. What you see when the gate opens has no framework. No prior experience helps. No training prepared you for it. You stand at the gate for 4 minutes without moving. Then you make every man in your company walk through with you, not as punishment, as evidence, as the final true answer to what all of it, the $50 a month, the hedgerows, the frozen farmhouse, the 19 letters, was actually in service of stopping. That evening, you take out the photograph, your mother, the blue dress, the porch, the maple tree. You write her the most honest letter of the entire war. You don't tell her what you saw today, but you tell her you understand now in a way you didn't before, why you went. You tell her to tell Helen to keep waiting. You tell her the maple tree is bigger in the photograph than you remember it being, and you want to know if it's grown.
Level 9, The Veteran, Columbus, Ohio, 1945. You come home in August. Your mother is at the bus station in the blue dress. She's smaller than you remembered. You're larger than she remembered. You hold each other on the platform, and neither of you finds the first word. Helen is there. The ring that sat in a dresser drawer since 1943 goes on her finger in September at the church on Maplewood. The factory foreman offers your job back. You take it. The nights are the problem. Not every night. Certain nights. The frozen farmhouse comes back. The gate comes back. The 19 names come back. You get up at 3 in the morning and wait at the kitchen table until the light changes. You don't talk about it. Nobody asks. There's no word for it yet in 1945. The Army calls it readjustment. That is not the right word. The right word doesn't exist. Danny comes home in September. You drive to Pittsburgh in November. He and Ruth have the baby, James, 4 months old, entirely unaware of everything.
You hold him for a while. He grabs your finger. Danny looks at you across the kitchen table. He looks exactly how you feel. He makes a terrible joke. You both laugh for a long time. In the front yard of your house in Columbus, you plant 2 maple saplings. You don't tell anyone why. In June 1950, something happens in a country called Korea. The letters start going out again. Somewhere right now, a 20-year-old is sitting at a breakfast table. The brown envelope is in his mother's hand. He has plans he hasn't told anyone about yet. A job he just started. A girl he's thinking about. He has no idea what he's about to carry. Neither did you. The ranks change. The cost doesn't.